Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we will be discussing this picture that I have colored in Nightfall by Maria Trolle. This is the original version. So I wanted to talk about the picture that I've colored in, and that's because it's all done with Arteza materials. I got a second package of the Arteza company with new goodies to try out, and I thought, well, I'm going to pick a picture and just use my new stuff on it and see how it goes. And I loved every single second of this. First, I'm going to show the products themselves, then I will show the swatches, and then of course I can talk a little bit more about this picture. But first things first. It's quite a pile again. So the first things that I can show you are the Arteza real brush pens, 48 set as you can see. And I'm going to grab one layer out, so you get 4 of these layers. Now I have ordered a pencil case for these pens, because if I need a color from the 3rd or the 4th layer or even the 2nd one, I have to pull out all 4 because they seem to click into one each other, I think, and sometimes it's not always that handy. So I've ordered myself a pencil case, and I'm just going to grab a random color. So I'm really happy that I could test these out too, because now I know the difference between the twee markers that I first had for review and the real brush pens. So as far as design goes, it's the same as with the twee markers. We have the name of the company, the product name, and then a color and a number. So that's very convenient that we have a color name. And then, of course, some information that it's water-based ink and that's not toxic, where it's designed, where it's manufactured, and the difference between the twee markers and the real brush pens is that these really have a soft point. So now I'm going to paint and you can already see how bright the color is. These have a soft point, as where the twee markers, I'm going to grab my box because they are standing on my desk non-stop, because I really like to use those. So I'm going to grab a twee marker, and the twee markers, as you all already have seen, I was grabbing at the wrong. The twee markers, you did already see that it has a small tip and a kind of a brush tip, but it's a sturdy one and it's shorter. So that's a difference. It's just a preference, I think. If you like to use a softer brush, then you should go for the real brush pens. If you want a harder tip, then you should try out the twee markers. And of course, that extra back is also a plus if you have some fine and detailed work to do. But now onto the brush pens again. I, of course, did my swatches again. And what I did was, and you get also an Arteza brush. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention it. I haven't used this one yet, but this mentions, I don't know if it's quite visible. No, it's not focusing like I want it to. It's mentioning Arteza here. And I think it's a medium or even a large brush. It's also a very soft one, but I haven't used this one yet. So, but it's nice to have a backup brush. And I did swatch the real brushes out. And the left side are the colors straight from the brush pen, and here it's diluted with water. So I like the first, like I did with the coloring with the 3 markers. Now I have used an acrylic block for that I normally use for stamping. Not that I stamp that much, but I have it at home for when I want to use some clear stamps. Instead of my coloring palette, I used an acrylic block, put the ink on here and grabbed the water brush and did the swatches on this side. Now I made a mistake with I put some of this color here and I was mixing it up. So the weird thing you are seeing here is gesso, and that's why it's also a bit strangely looking, but these are the colors from the first tray and maybe a bit of the second tray. So, and as you can see, they become very light when diluted with water. So it's very nice to, you have 2 colors in fact. If you have the right paper to work with these, you can combine it straight out of the pen and afterwards going in with the diluted version. Personally, I really liked, or I really like the right side colors. They're so soft and just beautiful. And you can see again on the left side how poppy the colors are. Arteza makes really products with poppy colors. So that are the swatches from the real brush pens. And then I'm going to grab product number 2. And that's the full set of the watercolor pencils. And when I swatched them out, or when I was going to put their names down in my book, I based myself on this index. But the thing is, if you receive those pencils, they are not in this order. They are, the 3 layers are similar build, so that the colors on every tray look quite the same, so that's very beautiful, but I prefer them in order like they were showing on the box. So I did my own setup, and the downside, the pencils work great, but the downside is that I think it's very difficult to grab those 2 edges. It would have been nicer that there were a little handles to lift it, because the tray is also quite flimsy. So I'm going to put them in a case also. But quality wise, these pencils are great. So I really am a bit afraid to hurt these. But so far they came in a very good condition, no broken leads. I'm going to grab this sienna brown. I've used this one already. So you can't look beside the color name that's printed in quite a big font. And on the back we have the symbol of a watercolor pencil, so a pencil, a brush, and of course the company name, and that these are expert pencils. There are, I always forget the name, not triangular, yeah, you know what I mean, they are not round, and they are quite thick. They're thick pencils and they lie very well in the hand. And of course, I've swatched these out also. They have a bit of a smell, I must say, but not too terrible. I've had other pencils that had quite some smell. These look nice, but they smell a little bit, so be aware of that. But it's not that they stink, definitely not. They just have a little smell on them. So these are the swatches, and again, poppy colors. This is just super thin paper, and they work perfect with water. They do their job. They come in contact with water, and oops, there go. I don't have to use a lot of water or put some pressure on my brush pen. Definitely not. They work very well, and it's very nice that we also have some skin colors here. Very beautiful reds and pinks. The strange thing is, what's this color doing in between all my pinks and purples and bluish ones? It would have been nicer that the coral color was right after the apricot, but in the box it's also placed. Now the box is here, the lid. It's also in a very strange place, so yeah. But nevertheless, these colors are just beautiful. A lot of greens also. Some warm greens, some very poppy greens, some colder greens. I love that moss color. And their names, Coyote. Garnet, never heard of that. Also a very beautiful cover. A cinnamon color. Passion fruit, also as a bit of a reddish one. Very, very nice. And then some grays, not too many grays, but well enough for doing some mountains or something like that. So a really lovely, lovely set. So I will talk about these also a little bit later when talking about the picture. So I'm going to... They are easy to grab as this, but when you have to lift them out of their tin, it's not that easy. And then for the last product, I was super happy that I could ask for a metallic acrylic paint set. You all know that I love shimmer, that I love pearlescent colors, metallics, you name it, glitter, glue, glitter, gel pen. If it shimmers and it glitters, it's my cup of tea, and so I couldn't wait to swatch these out. Now, just as the gouache paints by Arteza, these are delivered in a beautiful box with the mentioning of the light fastness, the transparency, and the pigment number, together with the color names. And they come in, again, these very sturdy plastic trays. They hold the paints really well. And the tubes are bigger than the gouache ones. I think it's 22 milliliters and the gouaches are 12. Yeah, 22 milliliters. And the gouaches are 12 milliliters, so that's a difference. But the design is the same. You have the mentioning of the type of paint that you get. Then, of course, the company name, how much there's in the tube. And then on the top, the light fastness, the transparency, the number, and then here we have the color name, and that's Pearl Deep Brown. And I've swatched those out as well. So you get 3 layers of the paints on this side and 3 layers on this side. And now you can put your sunglasses on. I'm hoping that you can see it quite well, but I think you do. I'm seeing it quite well on camera. So these are the pearl acrylic paints. Doesn't that make you happy? It makes me happy. Look at that pearl lilac. And that glacier blue. Ooh. Yeah. And these are the last ones. So very beautiful. Poppy colors again, as you can see from a distance. A very nice range. Ideal for jewelry, for frames, for, yeah, you name it. For everything. Now, one thing that I have experienced, they shimmer quite a bit on this paper, but I've used them on a coloring book from Hachette Heroes yesterday, and they weren't as shimmery as on this paper. But I don't think that it has anything to do with this paint, because my Paul Rubens watercolor, my glitter paint, was sucked up so quickly. I got stains from here to Tokyo. I don't know if you know that type of sentence that I was using now. Spreekwoord, I don't know how it's called in English, but it gave me stains, and it was ugly, and the paint that I've used in that coloring book wasn't that ugly at all, only it didn't shimmer as much as it did on this paper. But it's like with every product, with pencils, with paints, you always have to wait how paper reacts and how they will give life to your product that you are using. So I'm just warning that it's possible that if you are using them, the result won't be as shimmery as I'm showing now, but it perfectly can be, because not only these paints had trouble, the Paul Rubens paints had trouble also. And in the past, I never had very big issues with my Paul Rubens paints, so I really blame the paper for that one. I'm still in love with this product. And now I'm going to talk about my picture, because of course I've used them on that one also. So I'm going to put my beautiful box aside. And let's talk about my Arteza page. So I did this one. I'm going to lift it up a bit. I did this one in half a day. Not even, I think. So I started with the real brush pens on these flowers. Now, to make sure that it's a safe product, I'm going to switch my paper. No bleed through. Nothing. So it's safe to use in this book. For these flowers, I started with the flowers because I immediately knew I wanted to use some very pale and pastel colors. I started with the real brush pens, and I've worked with my acrylic block to put some color on it, grab my water brush, so my water brush pen, not a regular paintbrush, and when dipping off the color, go into a flower. I've shown last week a video in which I color hair from a lady drawn by Hannah Lynn. So I use the same technique for these flowers. Start in an area and just fade out your color so that you get a real nice gradient. Now, I haven't written down the colors that I've used here, but I will go back to the swatches. I do remember I've used the eggplant, that I'm quite sure of, and I believe sapphire blue or denim blue. I'm not sure anymore, but I based myself on the watered down colors because I really like the way they are looking. So when those flowers were done with 2 colors of real brush markers. And then afterwards, I colored in these 2 cutie pies using the 3 markers. Also on a palette, scribbled some ink down, grabbed some with my water brush and colored those cuties in. Now, before I go any further, I have to show you something extra on the 3 markers. I had experienced with my first picture that I tried out with this product that the colors also were very different. And for these little guys here and there, I've used the rose red. So as you can see, if you are scribbling it on a palette and you wet it with water, it becomes quite a flashy pink. It's not that visible on camera, but believe me, it's quite a flashy pink. And it was perfect for this page because I wanted to pop those 2 little guys. So I decided to also for the 3 markers do a swatch when they are activated with water. Now, they stay quite vivid in color compared to the real brushes. Those are more soft in color for my feeling. They become very soft in tones. As where the 3 markers stay more vivid. But that's okay. That's great because you can combine different shades, different products and different shades. So very happy to discover that. So here we go again with this page. So I've used 2 colors of the real brush pens, and after I colored in those 2 guys with the 3 markers, I wanted to add some of that pink on my flowers also. So above my real brush pen ink, I did put some 3 marker ink, also scribbled down and picked up with a water brush. I love the effect. It was fun to do. The result was yeah, every flower looks different, and here we have a darker petal, and then we have some pink, and here it's more light. Same with this one above. I really like those, how those color merge, and I loved it. And then of course, I wasn't only using the real brush pens, I also wanted to use my watercolor pencils. So I did use them on this stem and on this pot. And they have a bit of a rough look here, but it's perfect. Here it was, yeah, it worked like a quality watercolor pencil. And it also did here, but because I played around a bit with the pigment, it had a bit of an old look on my pot, and I loved it. So I left it like it was, and I really like the outcome of it. For the little leaves, I also used the real brush markers. So I scribbled down a green, and afterwards I scribbled down a brown color and added here and there some touches of brown. The houses are also done with the watercolor pencils. So I really have two warm colored houses and 2 paler ones, and I had so much fun working with those pencils with every product. In fact, I'm very proud that this is only Arteza. It's I had a lovely time. My colors are vivid and popping, and yeah. And then of course my shimmery details, this leather, this ornament here and an ornament there, and of course my bird are with the acrylic metallic paints. I'm going to try and zoom. Yeah, now it's a bit more visible. And also on the little dots on my flowers, I've used some metallic acrylic paint. So if you go around with your page, it shimmers. And I hope my little ladder is shimmering too, but I think you can see. And on this paper you can see how lovely their shimmer is. On the hachette paper it doesn't shimmer, or not as much as I wanted it to, but on this paper it's quite visible. Look at this color here. That's a bit of a coppery one, I think. And this is a pearl rose, a golden one. So this is a work of love. I had so much fun every time I look at this picture. I remember my morning when I was working on this one, and I really had a wonderful time. Some pictures can call some less enjoyable moments, because we all have our pictures where we swear on and it's not turning out great, or like yesterday with my Paul Rubens paint and with my acrylic paint that wasn't shimmering and gave me stains from here to there. Especially the Paul Rubens one, the acrylic paint behaved quite well, but it didn't shimmer as much. But if you use them on the right paper, yeah, look at this little birdie, it shimmers so hard. And also these flowers, it's quite visible. So if you're looking for brush pens or watercolor pencils or metallic paints, acrylic ones, consider visiting the Arteza website. It's fun. You get quality products, beautiful poppy colors, 2 colors with every set that you buy. In fact, because the watercolor pencils can also be used dry, was mentioned on the tin, if I'm not mistaken. I've read it somewhere. Break resistant, soft and thick water soluble leads, acid free, use wet or dry. So you can also use them dry. If you don't want to invest in regular colored pencils and really want watercolor pencils, it's also possible to use them dry. But for the real brush pens and the watercolor pencils, you get a bit of a different pigment. I'm going to put it upside down. So 2 colors in one, in fact. I really love it. So I hope you've enjoyed my review. It was quite a long one, I think, but I wanted to show a result with the new products instead of only talking about the boxes or the products themselves. I thought it was nice to show a completed picture already, so that you had a good idea of what they or how they perform, what you can expect. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. If you're interested in Arteza products, there's a discount code of 10%, if I'm not mistaken, at the description below this video. There are also some affiliate links. I get a little commission if you buy through that affiliate link. It doesn't cost you extra. It's just a little bit that I can earn with these links, and that I can invest again in the channel to buy new things to try out and to inform you guys about. So I hope you like this video. Don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions, and I hope we will see each other soon for a next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.